pro-African like he wants, but he decided to open another one and create another home and tell people to bomb their home and come to them.
Which one was he supposed to identify himself with?
He fought and lost 2 conferences at ANC. He could have joined EFF. Dr. Hlope could have joined EFF. He was on the verge by his own admission, because it's a house that they could come in and help build it, instead of opening another one, because now we do not want other people to open other parties, but we are opening parties. I want you to defend that criticism.
President Zuma is better than me, and you is better than Julius Malema. He's got wisdom. He's been leading in trenches, leading the intelligence. So issues that me and you, we can't diagnose, he can diagnose those issues because of his wisdom. And I think it is his wisdom that guided him that he must not join the EFF.
And wait, you don't want to take it further?
No, and I think I'm very clear.
Because the next question would be, would you advise other people? So do you want to also say that to, there's a progressive caucus in Parliament, and I'm very worried about it. Yesterday's shenanigans in Parliament were not supported by the other members of the progressive caucus. It was just the Red Berets doing it by themselves. And I'm worried if this progressive caucus is still going to be intact. Why do you need UAT? Why do you need ATM? Why do you need PAC? All these parties. Of course, I'm just including PAC because Azapo is limping too much. Azapo and PAC, they always go to elections together. Why don't they just drop all their things and join MK? Because I'm for that. But I accept the criticism that why did we allow MK to open while there were other parties. But I just want you to speak on this. Do you encourage other people to close shop and come and join MK?
Look, firstly, the Progressive Caucus is a reaction to the GNU. Ordinarily, things that are formed out of reactions, they don't have the basis, the foundation. The only foundation is that you are reacting to the GNU. Can't be solid, right? But it does not mean that in future it cannot be solid, but there must be a different reason why it is being formed, not as a reaction to the GNU. Now, we don't want many parties, obviously, in Parliament, but I said earlier on that some politicians have created business out of politics. You see, if you have people who have created business out of politics, how are you going to convince them that they must relinquish their powers in their businesses? They are not going to do that.
What attracted you to the Umkhonto weSizwe party?
I said that the ideals of 1961, right? Wherein Nelson Mandela and other young leaders said the direction that ANC is taking is not going to liberate our people. Apartheid regime was coerced to succumb to democracy as a result of the formation of Umkhonto weSizwe, because there was sabotage, there was operation in this country. I'm saying the MK, you must not analyze it as the MK of now, but you must start it in 1961. And we are blessed to have a wise man in the form of President Jacob Zuma, who said, all of you are playing marbles. The only solution is in Umkhonto weSizwe. Party, and he was correct. You see, even the approach the reaction of the people on the ground could tell you that it's only Mkhonto Wesizwe that can bring about a difference in this country.
Do they have a constitution? Have you seen the constitution? Do you know officially what they stand for?
Yeah. You see, we must cease and desist from complying to the Eurocentric standards of how we must run our affairs as African people. That is number one. I'm now going to your question. In the IEC, you can't register a political party if you don't have a constitution. You can't. It's a requirement. It's a prerequisite. It's the first test that you must pass. Yes.
Combined in that question is, have you perused it? Have you saw something of interest that wants you to join it? And the reason I'm asking you is, in Bela Bela there was a conference. That's where we saw, first public and officially, we saw Siyabonga Gama, Brian Molefe, and Bulaki Montana. They called it the Huvo in Bela Bela, Limpopo. And a lot of things came out of it. And of course, the declaration that it's not advisable to go to conference. The reason I want to ask you about this constitution is, it is said by comrades of MK that I spoke to that in that Huvo Bela Bela, they declared that Jacob Zuma will have the ultimate firing and hiring powers. And I have not seen a statement. It could have been issued. I could not have seen a statement that communicates and confirms that. And I want to tell you, even before you answer, if that is the case, I want to applaud them, because I'm one of those who says...
Because they were no longer in control of key state institutions. The white capitalist establishment was no longer in control, and then they said, there's a crisis. If there was truly a crisis, why is that crisis not there now? Like, can they show us the crisis which they said existed before? So to assemble the best of the best amongst black people to govern society is a best decision. And to associate with that is a best and sound decision. People who can govern, like it's as simple as that. Like, if you say that who amongst ourselves is the best, and then you say, let's assemble those who can demonstrate that they have got capacity to run otherwise very complex and huge institutions, who are not going to collaborate with the establishment and switch on electricity on and off and say it's load shedding because there's a crisis of this and that. People who are genuine and real and have never done anything wrong, and of course will be criminalized for one reason or another. I agree that we should unite all the progressive forces into common agenda, because this thing of small unviable political parties is not sustainable for the future of black people in South Africa. It's not sustainable at all. We can't, and the temptation as well, and I'm not characterizing the EFF, is that when you have got multiple of these, like they end up being fiefdoms of individuals. IFP, UDM kind of arrangement, what is it to achieve with that? When all of us can set aside our very strong egos and say, I don't have to be a member of parliament, I don't have to be a deputy president. I can come and be led by a collective, like, and be subjected to a collective and be asked to go and organize branches of MKP from scratch and not be a member at the high levels. That is the principle that we're dealing with. And that is what we're here for, in terms of, and so that there's not even confusion. By the way, we spoke about the unification of all progressive parties with President Zuma last year, October, before the official announcement of Mkondo Wesizwe Party. And I was amongst those that said that let us go and contest elections as separate political parties. We'll contest each other on the ground, but we'll come back to talk about what do we do moving forward. So the attempt for unification is not just an opportunistic one because there were electoral declines of the EFF and all of those things. It's a genuine political discussion, which all South Africans must enter into, those who are in favor of the revolution. Because revolution is the content of what we're standing for. It's not just, no, if it's me, you are betraying me. You know, some people will say, you are betraying me. Where does that enter? And you don't even once suggest that I'm betraying the revolution. I will never betray the revolution. Because we're not in the business of trying to please each other's egos here. We're in the business of building a revolutionary movement that is going to emancipate the black majority and Africans in particular, and we're unapologetic about that. That is what we stand for. And President Zuma, when he was inducting all of us yesterday, he says that we might be friends and we might think we're friends, but friendship won't apply here. If you do not do these things right, you're going to be taken